And what I like is that it doesn't matter what time of day. You can go early, you can go mid, you can go late.
Yeah.
I have issues with going late.
Really?
If I just like I got to start my day. I need that early morning training. It sets me
That's
up.
understandable. That's understandable, man. If that's your routine too, and that's what works for you, that's the best thing. Like when I used to work, before Titan, all that, I used to work out at night all the time. Like after work, we get off work and go to the gym. So at that point, I mean, now it's like, I'm more sporadic, but I'm trying to get it earlier during the day now, where it's like, all right, at least I got it done. And then after work, I'm like, all right, I can go home and kind of rest and relax a little bit. So
I also love that freaking Peter is there. It got me excited. I know he's been there and I know he's worked out with you. I don't
yeah.
know why yesterday it hit me more
Mm-hmm.
because you sent me the video of you working out. If you guys don't know, Peter is his monstrous of a son. But it was just the coolest thing for me being a father.
Yeah.
And maybe it hit me because the realization, and I'll tell you, I mean, Titan was grinding my head the other day,
Yeah.
and that aggression and stuff got me like, oh,
Yeah.
hyped, because he's so kind and just laughing, and then he had the switch, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's there.
Yes.
So I think all that played into part of if you parents out there is training with your kid. And again, I'm a late father, and to be able to tussle with Titan in 10 years makes me like so extremely happy. Like that's a goal. That's a strong goal.
Yes. I
Okay,
can't
maybe
wait,
not
man.
10 years, maybe not 10 because he's going to kick my ass in 10 years, but maybe maybe 6 years. Also, last night, he's got the two number one schools in California for wrestling.
Okay.
Now he's at both, which is awesome. And
Wow.
both coaches are ridiculous. And
That's
just
awesome.
and I've been trying to explain this to Mona, the difference
Mm-hmm.
in the teaching and the coaching. And it's like you've been there. You know what it's like to have a good coach.
Of course.
You know what it's like to have a bad coach. I'm not saying that anybody's been a bad coach, but there's an aggression and an urgency and a old school no quit mentality when it comes into walking into a wrestling room with those
Mm-hmm.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
And she came home after the first class. She goes, I get what you're saying now. And I said, see, it's different. There's a little relaxation with these other styles and stuff. But when it comes to wrestling and the time they spend, it's twice as long.
Yep.
It's more intense.
Yep.
And there's no, oh, it's okay. You're a baby. No, you last.
Yeah.
Keep going again.
Yeah.
Oh, you last. You didn't listen.
Harder conditioning too. A lot harder conditioning. I mean, you're running. You're push-ups. I mean, you're getting it because you need that endurance and stamina to be able to go through those rounds like that.
It's also cool to be around that kind of elite. So these kids are just savages. But the coach came out to meet Mona, and she brought one of the students out, and she goes, "No, we got some big kids." And she's like, "Oh, okay," because Titan's a monster. No, she came out with a kid that's 5'10", 200 pounds, 8 years old.
What?
8 years old.
What? What?
He came out because the coach is 5'9", and the kid was bigger than him. He's 5'10", 200 pounds, 8 years old. I'm like,
oh my God.
There is some just freaks out there. It's so cool to see.
There are. I mean, I was watching one the other day. He's a basketball player. I think he's like 6'7" right now in 8th grade. And the guy's just like, I mean, you don't have to jump, but he's dominating like everywhere. He can shoot, he can dribble. I mean, it's just, yeah, man, there's some mass monsters out there. These kids are definitely getting bigger by the generation for sure, as far as that goes. I mean, some of them, you see some of them going the other way where they're getting smaller, but you see a lot of these other ones that are just getting bigger. At that point, wow, just crazy.
If you don't mind, can we stay on this subject for a second?
Sure, of course.
I think I texted a little bit the other day, and it's just for you parents out there that are trying to be healthy and change your, I guess you would say, your DNA to the lineage of your family. So I am the biggest and strongest so far of my lineage, my parents and grandparents and so on and so forth. And we've had some big people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mona's side is more ginormous than my side.
Oh, wow.
So she's got a 6'11" and a 7'1" on her side. So Right.
Oh, wow. That's tall, man. 6'11"
Maybe
is
they're not as
tall.
strong as me, but holy sheesh.
Yeah,
You got-
yeah.
And so we're trying to tighten up so he could be, and I think this is something that was lost in my travels over the weekend really got me to think about it. And I want to turn this over to you because uh, we all want our kids, and I see this with every friend that I have that's a parent or anybody I've ever traveled through in life. They always say the number one thing is, I want my kid to be smart. And I'm like, okay, but wouldn't it be a combination of everything?
Yes.
Healthy, smart, confident,
Yes.
good self-esteem,
Yeah.
Be able to take care of himself, protect himself, financially be okay. Wouldn't it be the whole
Absolutely.
gambit, I guess you would say?
I mean, because there's a lot of smart criminals out there. They're smart, yeah, but what else do they have going for them? You know, so yeah, you want the whole enchilada for your child. You don't want it just to be smart. You want, like you said, you know, confident. You know, as far as them knowing morals, ethics. I mean, these are lost things they're not taught these days to kids. And that's because probably the parents didn't have good morals or ethics, and it just keeps passing down and gets worse and worse. Or they don't hold them to that standard like they were held to when they were kids. You know, but there's a lot of things. I mean, you know, that you want your kid to be strong too. I mean, to a certain extent, you don't want to be weak and frail. And if you do want your kid to be weak and frail, why? You know, and I'm not talking about being a bodybuilding kid or anything like that, but just generally, like, you know, decently strong, like being able to do great activities, playing football, playing basketball, being able to run, like just outdoor activities and not being able to just be inside, be able to do some push-ups. I mean, you know, for a kid, you know, and is in his teens, especially a boy, they should be able to do at least 10 to 20 push-ups. And that's, I think, on the low end. I see some girls and they're like 8, 9 years old. They've been knocking 20 push-ups out and good ones. I'm a stickler on that. So it's, you know, just certain things. So yeah, I mean, parents should want to strive for their kids to have everything, not just one aspect, because that makes you a one aspect type person. You have all the different things that makes you a well-rounded person. So I think that's key for sure. 100%.
Yeah. And I think this whole stemmed from just my travels over this weekend. We got to go to Vegas for an appearance at Bagel Mania and enjoy the day and have fun and eat and hang out with friends. And we haven't had the whole team together in a while. So it was just a real fun trip.
Yeah.
But I also people watched and
oh yes,
you want to people watch, and you really kind of see the difference. When I was traveling in the 80s, flying places, you know, and it was great. You know, it was a different time of traveling and all that, but looking at the airports now, it was heartbreaking. And we got a company like Titan Medical out there trying to help people. Yeah. But again, it takes the individual to do that. And I just saw so many parents being carbon copies of the kids were carbon copies of the parents.
Yep.
And at such a young age to already be that overweight or that, right. Yeah, set up to you're setting them up to lose.
Right. It's a failure setup, man. At that point, like we've talked about many times, your kids are feeding off your example, right? And you're the one feeding them and providing for them. So, you know, what you give them is what they think is going to be okay, and what you teach them, they think is going to be okay. That's why, listen, if you have a really radical mom or dad, you're going to probably be a little radical person. But at that point, like if you're not, or if you're getting taught to eat a certain way, you're going to eat this way and think it's okay. But it's not. And at that point, like if parents are obese and overweight, and, you know, I looked at the study and I have to look at it again just to verify it. But one of these claims said that 80% of Americans are obese or overweight, 80%. Before, like a couple of years ago, I think it was like 60. So at that point, like I have to look it up just to verify the exact percentage. But that's what I was reading in the US data. And I'm like, wow, this is even worse. Because I mean, you have that many overweight and obese people out there. Like, man, 20% of us are not. That's scary, man. And it's just, you know, what are we teaching our kids too? We're teaching them to be overweight, unhealthy, inactive, docile. I mean, subservient. I mean, to a certain degree, you know. I mean, it's I don't know. It's kind of crazy. And the one thing I do want to flip in there, because this is a real world thing. So you want your kid to be the best, right? So you want to give them some sort of supplementation to help them out. Well, I learned off one was not good for sure, 100%. So Peter was obviously wanting to grow taller. So he's like, Dad, he's like, give me this height growing gummy or supplement that all these kids are taking and they advertise everywhere. So I looked at the back of it before I ordered it. I always do. And it wasn't anything crazy. There was a couple amino acids in there and stuff like that. And there was ashwagandha. Now, I'm really not that
it's a test booster, is it not?
It's
ashwagandha is one of the big,
ashwagandha.
it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be, right? So they throw that in there. I'm like, all right, cool. But so he starts taking it. And I'm like, all right, cool. I don't notice I'm growing any taller or whatever. So I run blood tests on Peter. And I run pretty in-depth blood tests. So I find cortisol level. I want to see what's going on. Right. So luckily I did, because I ran the blood test on him. And I'm like, damn, like, he's kind of now, like, this is like a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, what's going on here? So his cortisol actually came back pretty low. And if cortisol comes back pretty low, that could be signs of depression. Like all these different things happen with that. So we start correlating me and Sharice, and then we're like, oh my God, like ashwagandha, like this lowers cortisol levels. And if you take too much of it, lowers it down too much. And at that point, then it's going to cause other negative health symptoms. Now, luckily, I own a clinic. I can run blood on my son whenever I want, so I can look at these different things. But you got to be precautious of what you're giving your kid, because you don't know how it's affecting them, really.
Yeah, see, most people think they heard cortisol and they think, you got to eliminate that completely. Actually, there's benefits, and it should be in the range. And again, everything, like you've talked, you say this over and over again. Everything goes together. Everything. There's a reason why this is where it is.
That's right.
So that's a great one. And so for you guys out there that heard that, make sure that, again, those kind of questions and stuff, make sure that you go through John and his team out there and kind of ask those kind of questions, instead of just going off of some guy on the internet saying, oh yeah, this is just a test booster, don't worry about it.
I mean, we're giving it to kids. I mean, those are marketed to kids. So at that point, like these are young adults that don't need test boosters either. So, which I looked at his testosterone, it was like a 400 or something like that. And that's good for his age. I think his top skin is like 600 and change or something like that. So he's good where he's at there.
And he's still going through that big explosion of puberty right now too, which is, of
course,
holy cow.
Facial hair is like crazy, like just everything, man. It's just he's running wild, So yeah, I'm excited. It's crazy. He's just, when you look at him, you're like, this guy's not 14 years old. So it's pretty funny. I mean, a couple of weeks is gonna be his birthday. He's taller than me, but Mona, I was telling him about the 8-year-old last night.
Oh
the monster.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
He's already at 8 years old taller than the average male in the United States. I think it might be the world. I think 5'9" is tall, 5'9" is the average for men. So great for the parents out there getting into something, so he could not only be big, but also be able to protect himself and have fun with his sports. Because that was the big thing there. So what is going on over at Titan Medical this week?
Oh, so what do we got? We've got our therapy of the week, which is Tesamorelin. And that's been a big hot ticket item for a lot of patients out there. A lot of more patients are finding out exactly what it is, what it does, and how it works. And if you guys don't know what it is and how it works, let me break it down for you real quick. Tesamorelin is a peptide therapy. It's FDA approved. And it's a GHRH peptide, so it's a growth hormone releasing hormone peptide. And it does two different things. One, it raises IGF-1 levels, growth hormone levels in the body, which creates a whole anti-aging effect for you, better sleep patterns, to lose weight, increase and improve metabolism, and also add on that nice lean quality muscle or mass that you want to put on, lean tissue. And the other thing that it does, which is really, really, really cool, that no other drug does out there, and that's FDA approved for sure, is it targets visceral fat. So that's fat that's underneath the muscle. That's adipose tissue. That's like something like, it's around the organs per se, right? This is unhealthy tissue that you want to get rid of. So being able to take Tesamorelin, you're getting a lot of different benefits, right? And you're targeting belly fat, visceral fat. So super, super cool therapy as far as that goes. And like I said, a lot of people respond really well to this therapy. So it's our therapy of the week this week. So if you guys are interested in Tesamorelin, there's a discount on it too as well if you want to order it. No blood test is needed for Tesamorelin. All you have to do is fill out the new patient paperwork and see the medical provider. But I always recommend blood work just to see what's going on. Plus, you get a baseline of your IGF-1 level to see where that level is at originally before you go on to a therapy and then start taking it. And then you're like, oh, where am I at now? So it gives them sort of baseline for you, and you can see maybe if there's some other issues. But Tesamorelin is the one right now we got going on. I know next week is like a Father's Day week. I think we're going to do a blood work special next week for fathers.
Father's Day.
Got to take care of those fathers. Make sure they are good to go. I mean, listen, dads are still a big part of the family, and they need to be energized and they be able to, take their family out, enjoy the day with their family, or activities or whatever it may be, or just spending quality time with them.
Questions about Tesamorelin. Is there something, or what is the range that you can take this? Is this a 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months?
Sure. I mean, you can stay on this for as long as you want, pretty much. I mean, I would say at least 3 months, 3 to 6 months. I would say we're going to get pretty good results. And like I said, you can stay on it, so it's not something you have to get off of. But if you want to stay on it for just a little bit, try to get some good results. 3 to 6 months usually does the trick.
Okay, can you take this, because this again is both cuts the fat, but it helps boost the IGF.
Yep.
Is there something that you can partner this with at night to help you also bump the IGF that works in a different, because I know that's big talks that we've had.
Sure.
As long as they're working differently in the body. Sure. Explain that to me. And
different mechanisms of GHRHs work in different ways in how they work. So when you have CJC 1295 with ipamorelin, this could possibly be paired with it. If
say that again,
CJC 1295 and ipamorelin could be paired with it, I guess, to a certain extent. But if you're looking to like eat or something like that MK can be paired with it. If you're not looking to gain weight or like that, you just want to lose weight, that's probably not the good way to go. But another one that could work with it, because really what we want to do is we want to get that really good REM sleep too as well. So when we talk about Titan Serenity, which is a sleep agent that has magnesium, L-theanine, and taurine, you can pair this with it. Works in totally different mechanisms as far as sleep patterns go, and will help you get that hopefully deep sleep, which with deep sleep, you're going to increase IGF-1 levels usually higher than you would anyway. The body's going to repair itself and revitalize better than it would if you didn't get any REM sleep, right? You feel like you haven't got any sleep the next day if you don't get deep sleep. You don't feel refreshed, and that's what it's all about.
Is there a time that you should do the Tesamorelin or any of these things at night away from food and digestion?
Sure. I would say at least 45 minutes. 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, if you want to do a little bit longer, that's fine, but that's where I would give it at least.
I know that's one of those big discussions that they have online.
I mean, the biggest thing that anybody's going to say online to you is the best time to take medication like this is on an empty stomach. That is the direct answer to it. But if you had somebody eat like at 6 o'clock and they're going to bed at like 7:30, then that's ample time for, I think, them as far as getting a good dose and absorbing it good as well. Could
it be a life hack if you do wake up during the night? Let's say that for me, I know that I am from the time I get up in the morning till the time I go to bed, I'm eating every 2 to 3 hours to try to get those calories in so I can be big like Drew and you. So is it a possibility that I could and anybody out there that can use this, if it works or is recommended, and I guess blood work would be the answer. And the question is, could I not take it at bedtime, but when I wake up 2 to 3 hours later because of the amount of water I take, and I go to the restroom and then I come back and it's midnight and I take it then? For sure. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, you can take it in the morning if you guys really want to. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend it during sleep times. But I mean, there's people that could take it in the morning too as well. Like I said, with CJC 1295 and ipamorelin, you could take that multiple times during the day. And the reason that we really don't push it out there or talk about it too much is because a lot of patients can't be compliant to that. They can't do that. They cannot. They can't take it twice a day, or they can't the food.
they can't remember to take it. They forget about it. They don't do it, right? They're not consistent with delivering the medication that they need to. And that's why we try to make it dumbed down for everybody, because they're not as regimented as you and me, Mike. So it's hard for us to think like that. We think like we think, but you got to think like they think. And at that point, like some people, like they don't want to inject themselves at all, or they don't think about doing this, or they're like, oh, I'll just worry about it tomorrow, whatever it is. So if they're consistent about it, they can do it a little bit more. But if they're not consistent about it, that's why we dumb it down. Was like, listen, take it at night, right before bed. You'll get the best result that way. So it's really patient dependent to kind of how advanced some of these regimens can get. They can get very advanced. Like we talk about, me and your regimen it's a little bit more advanced than the average Joe.
Okay. Well, I'm going to see if you take a 10-second clip, just go over there on my board, and the nutrition's already there, and the inside is so I'll see if you can do this and then just upload the video, just so you guys are watching at home. I'm not writing something up and putting it up right now, but I learned early, make that list, right? You make the list, you get your nutrition plan set, and then you put it up just like we did as kids. My parents asked me to do affirmations and also put up my charts and my goal setting and write that stuff down. And so in the gym, because basically I didn't grow up in a house, I grew up in a gym. My dad turned the whole basement for the 5 boys into a fitness center, and there was wrestling mats, and it was a gym, and they put the things up, but we all had our goals on the wall. Yeah. And then we had pictures of all these guys like Robbie and Arnold up there too. Yeah. But the point was that I could see my goal outside of me just thinking about it. And then I could see my regimen, my workout plans and all that. And I still do that silly stuff today. And I absolutely love it. So just,
I think it's key.
It's so basic. It's I know that you might, the people out there, I'll remember to take it. I'll remember to take this stuff. Just have it written down. That way, your nutrition, your training, your protocol from Titan Medical. You're getting set up to win.
I mean, it's honestly, it's really not that hard. I mean, the way that technology is these days, especially majority of people have iPhones. If you go on your iPhone and you go into there in the setting for the alarm, you can set it for the exact days right there, preset, and it'll go off at that time. And then, when that goes off, or you give yourself 10, 15 minutes beforehand, like in a pre-alarm, so at that point you have it. And there's really no excuse. So when people tell me excuses like that, I'm like, listen, this is, even if you don't want to write it down, you can put it in your calendar, and it's going to alert you about what needs to go on. So you got to be some sort of responsible. For me though, like you said about the list though, I think the list goes even farther than that. Just to remind, it makes you do it. You want to knock out those tasks and work your way down that list. So I think that's key too, man. Definitely, we were talking about that, writing down on the list. I mean, I think that's, anybody that wants to be successful, if they're not successful right now, they're wondering why, start with the list. Do it. But, I don't need that. You don't need the list. Where are you at right now? If you're a millionaire or a billionaire or anything like that, you don't need no damn paper. If you're not to that goal yet, you need the damn paper. If I'm using the paper at this point, you better be using the paper at this point. That's why I tell people all the time. Like,
funny, you just said the ones that do have the list are the millionaires and billionaires. They are the ones that write it down. They are the goal setters. They are Warren Buffett on his breakfast. He knows exactly how much money he's taking to go get his breakfast. Those silly things are so important, and I think the reason why society thinks they're silly, because I can remember it. There's a difference between knowing your goal and actually seeing what you're thinking. And they've talked about this in psychology and stuff, and what that does to your mind when you see your goals and you go, okay, these are my goals. I want to drop 10 pounds. I want to start getting stronger. I want to motivate the family around me. I want to get my son into taking care of himself instead of him playing on video games all day long. It's really cool things, guys. And I know that's outside of what we normally talk about, but goal setting and writing that stuff down is so big.
Yeah, I believe so, man. And I don't think it's outside of what we're talking about, because a lot of people around here are looking for information on how to better themselves, whether it's physically, mentally, sexually, whatever it is, right? But you need to attain to some of these different things. And when you write down a list of whatever the goal is, you might not just have it right there. Like, have a list. I want to get a Lamborghini, or I want to create my own business. All right, cool. Now you have a goal. Now, what are we going to do to achieve that goal? And that underneath that, that's where your subcategories. I'm going to set up my LLC. I'm going to set up a bank account, and some of these different things. Maybe you don't know what to do. I'm going to research topics on how to do this and everything out there, guys. I mean, I don't care what you want to get into. It's all on the internet. And whether it's YouTube or one of those other platforms, you can learn how to pretty much do anything. I was hearing some people talking about, how bad the job market is and everything like that. I'm like, man, I see a lot of opportunity out there, and there's more opportunity, for younger kids than I've ever seen. Just being content creators and being on their phone. I mean, it's crazy. You know what I just see today? Florida just voted on high school sports. And you know what the NIL is, right? In college.
Okay.
So the NIL is where the players get paid. So Florida just approved high school players.
Come on.
So now we're talking about 16-year-old kids, 15-year-old kids getting super paid in high school.
Oh,
I mean, if they played the right school, and they're that
not even
good.
that. It's so much broader too, because as you get, college is less, and then pros is very minute, and so you have a better chance. Being that I was an All-American kid, and I never continued forward because it was a different time, but it sets you up in a way. And so for these kids now to be allowed to make, and I think it's great that they are.
Me too.
It's like,
I don't even know how it's going to work.
Stop making so much money for the schools, or give back.
I agree. I mean, so it's going to change the game. I think it's going to be a little crazy, to be honest with you, because we're talking about kids. These kids aren't even 18 years old yet. I mean, at least as college kids are usually 18 and up.
Right.
So we'll see how it all pans out. But it's going to go that way, and we'll see. I mean, I even got to tell Peter, because I just read this today. I'm like, man, I'm going to go tell him, because, dude, at this point now we can start making some dough if you can really pop off and do what you need to do. So. It's just crazy how things are and how things are evolving.
That's a tough one too, though, because it's now they're going to make that kind of coin, how to hit the, which is cool, because then we have to slow down and really take that junior high school and go, hey, you really got to be responsible. You need to start. I know you want to be a kid, and they should be kids. But at the same time, let's be responsible, because we're moving into this high school level where now, because think about how fast they go through that money as pros. And these are kids that had the 4 or 5 years of college, the red shirt. So now they're 22, 23, going to be a pro. You make millions, and then you blow it.
Yeah, that's I was watching. So there's a Netflix documentary called Broke, and it's all like the former athletes and all the different sports. And at the end of it, it shows the list of all the athletes that declared bankruptcy. And when I looked at that list, I couldn't believe some of the names on there. Yeah. And you talk about some of these guys that had $100 million and go through 100. I read about Antonio Brown, and he's already broke again. I mean, it's
come on.
How are you, dude? How do you go through $100 million? I understand. Listen, you get taxed by the government. Let's say they take 50% of your taxes. So you got 50 million. Now you got your manager, you're this, you're that. Okay, cool. You're paying these guys out. But with that money, I mean, if you put $10 million right now into the bank in a money market account that you're guaranteed not to lose 1 cent on, you can take it out whenever you want. You'll make 5% return on that money. So that means $500,000 alone you make on just the money sitting in the bank. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, these guys have had some different people around them. Obviously, they made bad financial investments and stuff like that. They don't really, a kid really doesn't, I mean, because I went through that experience. I have no idea what it'd be like to be a 19-year-old kid that has millions of dollars to do whatever the hell I want to do. And then, it's a totally different mentality, me and you. Like, we've had to work through the ranks, get to where we need to go. We appreciate the value of the dollar that we made. It just didn't come like, here's a $20 million. Here's, I was like, whoa, like automatic. So, it's a little bit harder.
We have to talk about how your dad raised you at some time, because he's a character out of a movie. I mean, if you guys ever see his pops, he's like, he could be in The Sopranos or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a big character.
He's a big boy. He's very solid talking.
Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to hear about how you were raised in that sense, because my dad was a school teacher, educated. My mom was a writer, also educated, and they taught us by not teaching us.
Yeah.
Because there was 10 kids, and so they couldn't give the kids that much time. So they would, hey, Dad, what's the answer to this? I can't tell you that. Then you'll know as much as me. So get in there, get to the trenches, and get working. Figure the sheesh out. And so, but it taught me two things. One is we always got fed, even though there was 10 kids. But it taught me to be really respectful to money.
Yeah.
And I know how tight that is. And then also that it really is up to me to learn something.
Yeah.
And so I got lucky with that. And I just hope you kids out there and you parents out there are teaching those kids the very best you can. Because I'm watching how you're raising Peter. Because Peter, we always hope, and I think every parent says this to me, well, just remember, he may not like sports like you did. And I'm like, I understand that. But I see that your son does. And he loves this stuff. And you could see the spark in his eyes when he talks about it. And he's over there training with you at this stage now. Yeah. And so cool. It's going to be interesting to continue to watch how you raise him and do this. And the two aspects of you and mom, how you guys are different.
Definitely. You know? We're definitely different in that aspect. And it's kind of hard for me to even talk about my childhood. Like if it's similar to Peter's, not, it's never going to be similar to Peter's. The reason is because listen, my dad was very hardcore as far as that goes, very, very, very high strung all the time. And at that point was a business owner, entrepreneur, did all that stuff, worked a lot. So, I got to see my dad and stuff like that. He coached my teams, helped me out there. There's some different things because his dad was never around. So I don't know if he really knew how to be a dad, I guess, to a certain degree, right? He did good, obviously. But I left the house when I was 14 years old. So when I was 14 years old, I went to military school because I wanted to go. I wanted to go away to military school. My brother went for a couple of years, and I was like, oh, I want to go do this. So I went away to military school. I lived there on campus in barracks with array of different people, like through the years, Black people, white people, Mexican people, Chinese people, every kind of nationality. I got culture because I had to live there. So we're bunk beds, the whole nine. So you're living with somebody the whole night. It's so for me and Peter, like I was gone most of the time. I mean, from 14 on, I was gone because I went from high school to college, and obviously I'm here. So it's a little bit crazy. So I don't know, like sometimes with Peter, I'm like, I feel happy because I get to spend more time with them, but it's different raising them, I guess, to a certain degree. Because like, I don't know, I wasn't at home, so I never had any, it's like, I don't know. It's just crazy. So just different experiences. I don't know. I like it.
It's fun though.
We did. I'm glad I did it. I mean, it definitely made me who I am today for sure. 100% made me structured, very structured. And being able to laser focus on things. And, I love the military. I love the way the military is structured and everything like that. It's just for me, I had to do some different things for my family. I couldn't go in. I was going to serve. And I was like, I'm not going to do that right now. So, but I shout out to all the people that are service members, man. They give a lot to this country. So big shout out to them.
Yeah. I'm going to jump back over. So, Tesamorelin is the, peptide or the treatment of the week this week. So phone numbers here again. Yesterday, you guys were all on my live talking about blood work. Yeah. Ooh. So get on over there, get your blood work done. And like John said, with the peptides, you don't need the blood work. My recommendation is do it. And people said yesterday, it's so inexpensive and easy. But Johnny, I saw something because I'm on the mailing list.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know if you guys saw this. You should be on the mailing list. And so to get on the mailing list, John, what is the protocol to do that?
Sure. So you can go to any of our social medias and go right through Linktree and then go right to the newsletter mailing list. Or you could text the number 22828
Titan Medical.
To Titan Medical. Yep, that's right. So at that point, you can do it from your phone. You can do it on social media platforms. You can do it however you like. There's so many different ways.
I'll also put up a story today with a link there for you guys to just boom, get on the mailing list as well. And if anybody missed the show, you'll be able to get that regardless of the day. And again, the peptide there. And then I was talking about what you can mix, because certain IGF boosters work differently. And so you can mix match. And again, MK was one that you said, MK677, you could probably do along with the Tesamorelin.
Yeah, if they want to gain weight, right? If they're looking to gain weight and strength, mass, and stuff like that. If they're looking to lose.
Good, because someone here just asked. He said, "I think the Tesamorelin is not for me because I'm already thin and lean."
Yep.
You got that one? There we go.
So, this is. I think I'm too skinny for Tesamorelin. No fat on this guy. I never considered peptides. My basic understanding of them is the short-term intake to balance the body to specifications. So, all right. So Tesamorelin could be good or bad in this situation.
I've never heard that statement. Just sorry.
Either have I. So the basic understanding of them, the short-term intake to balance the body to specifications, that's not correct. So peptides are precursors to different things. Yes. But at that point, the sequence of those amino acids is what the peptide is, and that delivers a result. So, and they're not short term. You can take these long term in a lot of different functions and cases. With this though, Tesamorelin will be good. I mean, to a certain extent, it's not going to just lean you out and make you really skinny. It's going to put lean mass on you too as well. So what you're putting in the gym, you're going to get out as gains. But if you're looking to gain more mass, increase your calorie intake, then that's when MK677 would probably be the winner to help you bulk up per se, gain more strength, gain more size, be able to take in those calories that you need to take in to do that too as well.
So I just want to say that from my understanding, and also for me working and doing my best to optimize my body with the help of the Titan medical team, is that it didn't regulate it. It enhanced it.
Yes.
I got better.
Yes.
And so that's the only reason I'm caught on this. And maybe you didn't mean to say it the way you did, or the way that I'm taking the way you said this is this person here. His name is Serious of Cadmus. So I don't know if that's so, but it gets you back to where you were a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ultimate goal for optimizing your health. And so we were just talking about Peter's of John's son, Peter, is a savage. And that's what I'm trying to get back to, my 15-year-old savagery of myself, and what can I do to optimize it. And that's where this stuff comes out. And it just seems that mixture of Tesamorelin and MK677 would be the combination of people going, I want to build muscle and slow. They say it's a lean bulk or whatever. That seems like that would be the pinnacle for what you should take at night. And then what could they take along with that during the day to help them as well? You got the Hercules Potion,
Titan Complete, ECA Stack Plus. If you're looking for that boost of energy and want to keep lean, that's a pretty good one to add in. I mean, usually people take that in the morning. Like I said, you take Hercules Potion right before your workouts or strenuous activity. I mean, that's going to deliver a great benefit for you. So, I mean, I think those combinations right there are going to do wonders for people out there. Like if they're really looking to improve energy, improve pump, improve recovery, improve their body overall and quality of life, I think, definitely. If you mixed in all four of those, you're going to be doing really well.
And so we just talked about basically 4 peptides, possibly 5. And we're not even talking about the idea of TRT yet. No. We just optimize your health without even going down that route for you guys that are maybe going, well, I'm not ready for that step yet.
I mean, again, if you really want to get crazy, IGF-1, LR3 too as well.
Go into that. Talk about it.
I mean,
I love that you said go crazy. And again, if you're going to get the car,
if you want all the bells and the whistles, man. I mean, you know, you can go, like I said, mild to wild. We can do things mild to wild. It really depends on the person. So, IGF-1R3 is another good one, and it works differently than Tesamorelin works. So, when we're talking about this, you're talking about gaining more lean muscle tissue, leaning out better. I mean, it's just enhancing each other's therapy, right? So if we can boost things up even more, IGF-1R3 is probably going to throw gas on that fire for you. And it's definitely different than any other GHRH because it's not a GHRH. So at that point, we're working on some different mechanisms to boost the body to enhance it and optimize, which is key.
What is the difference between the two IGFs that you have?
So we only offer the one. There's IGF-1 LR3 and IGF.
Okay.
So IGF-1 is short acting. It's in and out very, very quickly. IGF-1R3 is a longer lasting IGF. So it stays in the body longer, so you get a better result.
Okay. And both, again, these, from what I understand, are both done at night. Is there anything that we've talked about?
Honestly,
there you go.
IGF-1 in the morning. I would do IGF in the morning. If it was me, I would do IGF in the morning. It doesn't make you tired. There's none of that goes along with it. Some of the GHRHs make people a little sleepy or a little slower. So that's what we tell them. You can take it at night. It's going to be perfect. But IGF, no, that's going to boost you, man. I would definitely take that in the morning and Tesamorelin at night if you're going to do something like that.
Oh, geez. Look at that, guys. He just gave you a winning protocol right there. So, again,
it's a good one.
It's not up to him. It's up to your blood work. It's up to your decision, and it's up to you talking to your wellness provider. And when you get a wellness provider, I'm curious on this, and you have that sit-down discussion face-to-face, is that a person that you can contact again to change up your protocol? Or would you always receive a new one, or is somebody appointed to you?
No, so the medical providers are here, but what happens is the medical assistants will field the call. And usually what they'll do is like, what's going on? If there's a problem, they're like, all right, cool, this is the problem. Then they'll get back to the provider. If the provider needs to get on a phone call with you, they're going to get on a phone call with you because listen, I'm not feeling good. This is going on, this and that. If the medical assistant cannot triage that call and handle that call, then they're going to get back to the medical provider. And the medical provider is going to look at their chart, look at what's going on. If they need to make changes to the regimen, they will. If there's no problems usually, then they usually don't talk to the medical provider about changing their regimen, but they should, if there is an issue or they're not feeling their best or just not what they expected, I guess, they need to tell the medical assistant when they call up and contact them. Because we're contacting our patients every 28 days. How you feeling? What's going on? And they can contact us anytime in between that. So it doesn't matter when you contact us or if we contact you. But when we do, if you don't contact us, we're going to ask you these questions. And you have to be truthful with the medical assistant to let them really help you. If you say everything's all right, I'm just going to get another order, then we're like, oh, well, are you sure everything's okay? Like, we want to make sure, because that's the whole point of this. People are spending a lot of money. We understand that. And we want to make sure they're getting results and they're getting what they're supposed to be getting out of it. Instead of, we'll just take the order. It's like McDonald's. We're not McDonald's here. So we're not just taking orders. I tell my girls that all the time. Like, you can ask for the refill, but I want to make sure that we're going through these questions because we need to make sure they're feeling good and they're on the right track, because maybe they're not. Maybe it's the wrong dose. Maybe this medication is not working the way that we thought it was going to work for them. Maybe they need to be on this. This is something that we need to look at. And if it needs to go in front of the medical provider again, it will. And if there's a change in regimen, per se, they talk with this to the medical assistant, it goes back to the medical provider behind the scenes. They look at it, approve it again, and then it goes forward. So there's a lot of triple checks in place to make sure you're getting service properly. And that if you need to get in front of the medical provider, you're going to get in front of the medical provider.
I think that's great. And it's for you guys out there just to get in here. We got another question here. Go for it.
Sure.
Statement. I got you.
Sure. Eric Medina said, I'm the 25-year-old who was hypergonadal and started on testosterone cypionate a few weeks ago. Alongside CJC 1295 from the Titan Complete, ever since starting has changed my life. Down 16 pounds and getting stronger every day. This is awesome. And this is a 25-year-old. This guy should, not had to have testosterone, but his levels and where they're at today in the environment and everything that's going on, he needed it. So, at that point, like, if people need it, then that's what they need. If people don't need it and they're 25 years old, I tell them, don't ever take it until you need it, because once you're on that ride, you're going to be on that ride and that's it. You're not going to be able to get off. And if you get off, you're not going to feel the way that you do today. So, and he's got a good program here.
It's a get out of jail free card in a sense. To me, I think that it's like, if you do it when you're young, you don't get to use that when you're old, when you should. Make sure that you get back to optimal. If you start too young, when you don't need it, that's the confusion to me, is these these kids coming into Gold's Gym going, hey, I'm just going to do this and that. It's like, I don't understand. I understand wanting to be a champion. Trust me. If you go back to any age of my life, I was fighting already to be a champion. But it's the concept that one thing is going to make you the champion, not a long road of hard work and everything. And so if you're not willing to do hard work, so this is about optimizing your health in the very best you can. And this is why I love that this 25-year-old goes, let me check. Because most 25-year-olds are going to be arrogant, going, I'm a badass. I can do it. I'm good. There's no issues with me. Okay, great. I hope there's not. But like full circle.
It's funny though, because like
the airport. Go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so, you know, before, like, me and Sharice used to do the events, and we used to walk up to people every time, and Sharice would be like, you need a testosterone check. And these guys, obviously it's an ego thing around other guys. You don't want to look weak. I understand that totally. Like, I don't need testosterone replacement therapy. I don't need testosterone. I'm good. I'm good in the bedroom, whatever it is. But it's when they go home and they're by themselves and they start thinking about, damn, I have these problems. And they're like, I better give these guys a call. And it usually happens like that. So, you know, it's all good in public when they're ego, but when they get home and they're by themselves and they know they have the issues and they're like, damn, I need to get help for this, and this is the way I can do it, then they usually call and they usually get help. And then they're feeling like $1 million. You know, I mean, that's what it was. Eric Medina said, my starting level of testosterone was a 230, and I experienced every symptom of low testosterone. No energy, super depressive, and a lot less drive than my peers. The whole list. Oh man, this is Eric's mom made him check his blood work.
Oh, mom. Yay. Give her a high five from us. Everybody at Titan Medical. That's someone that's raising you with love. And that's a cool thing too, because think about this. He said, and I understand this with low T for men causes, and I probably women same way, is the fatigue, the depression, which you don't even think about. It's like, oh, if I got low T, what does that mean? Okay, so I'm not strong. Maybe I'm not in shape, and you know, no energy, want to live. Yeah. And so it's great, man. Eric, thanks for jumping in here. Thanks for doing that. And Johnny said something about like guys in public. I don't need it. I'm fine. It's like when the V chip came out and all that. So I don't need something like that to please my girl. It's like, all right, yeah, there you go, buddy. It's the percentages are out there. A lot of you need it and make her happier by doing it. And Johnny, you have a plethora of stuff over there. But before I jump in there, you guys have, and this is great, an at-home blood kit. Is this correct? Am I reading this right? You got
so not at home blood kit, not yet. We're working on some different.
I saw something. I got an email that things possibly coming.
We're doing the in concierge blood. So that's the other part where we come directly to the home and take the blood ourselves. So we're working on two different aspects for our patients for convenience factor. And we're working on the ones I was telling you about, the different testing and stuff like that.
Okay. So
hopefully be done soon.
Let's talk about this in the future. Cause I know like Clark Bartram sent us something that he has like this in-house, it's just a kit over, you put a drop of blood in there. That's not what we're talking about with the full panel that Titan Medical does. It's a more limited panel. So we'll talk about that in the future, guys. And then hopefully it gets to the point where they can do a larger in-home box where it comes, it does it and moves it on.
Yeah.
So just be careful about getting the full panel. I recommend full panel.
Definitely. What made me look into Titan Medical is the amount of influencers who have hurt their health. I'm impressed by the longevity Mike has had, of course. His endorsement is what made me feel confident in Titan. That's awesome. And you know what? I mean, it's just, I posted a picture of us today on our story. It was the picture of Olympia when we got to meet. It was years ago. And at that point, like, it was just funny how everything worked out. And like, if I had to pick I'm very, very, I don't know. And like, as far as people representing my brand or me saying they're a sponsor or affiliated or wherever it is, right now it's like really tough for me. And Mike was a really, really easy, organic fit to what I thought a Titan should be. Obviously, he's already Titan. So it's just the longevity, what he was doing, the consistency. I mean, there's things that, like like I said, you look at some of your peers in their age group, and a lot of them aren't around. And the ones that are around have heart issues, health issues. You know, there might be some that are they're okay, but they're definitely not at to the apex to what you're at, I guess, and stay at. So, you know, for me, that's a big thing. So I'm glad.
I like
you
the
know,
word you used. You used the word organic,
yes.
and I wasn't looking, you weren't looking, and
No.
it just flowed. And then we realized there's so many things, and you always talk about the Titan lifestyle, and so there was so many facets in that we both did, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons it just clicked. And I was like, one of our biggest talks was that this is about you people out there that want to feel healthy and be back to what you were like. And that's what the coolest thing. And Jeff and said it too. And I know you guys are asking over here, what should you do? What peptides should you do? But Titan Medical's first questions are you drinking enough water? Are you sleeping well enough? And are you on a nutrition plan that is setting you up to win?
Right.
Before doing anything else, that's Titan Medical. That's what they do. And that should make you guys feel comfortable, because they're not trying to go like some of these companies. Hey, you need to be on these 20 things. Well, what about, should I change my nutrition? Don't worry about it. This stuff will take care of that. It's like, yeah. So I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate that we're being able to do this.
Yeah, man. Me too. So like I said, I'm super happy, super excited still. It's crazy. So Cloud9.
Jeffrey, what do we got here? I think I'm too skinny. We got that. We're going down. I'm going to look for any kind of questions. So guys, everybody out there, guys, girls, write down those questions as you're here. And there's no wrong question on this stuff, because trust me, I've been studying this stuff for a couple of years now, and I'm still just at the surface of fully understanding this. So
there's a couple new therapies coming down the pipeline too, as well. I know a couple of different peptides we're going to be releasing here very shortly. So
that's a good question. Then can we go down that? I know that some you probably can't talk about, but I know that we talked quite a while about them trying to shut the whole peptide community down, and you're on calls with these pharmacies and everything like that. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, listen, the DEA has strict regulations against peptides and compounding peptides, especially. So, you know, at that point, like, there's not a lot of pharmacies doing peptides as far as making them anymore. There's a couple that have, you know, said, you know what, we're going to keep producing these. These are beneficial for patients. They're having their lobbyists try to attack the government and stuff like that. So, you know, at this point, like, the pharmacies are still going to produce it, or they still have stock of it, and we're going to still be able to give our patients these therapies. And there's some therapies that could go away. Like, I don't have any say in it. And I wish I did. So if the pharmacies decide that we're not going to produce it no more, then we'll be SOL. But there are peptides that are never going to go away that people need to know about. Tesamorelin is one of them. Semorelin's another one. PT141, sexual libido enhancing peptide. And then we have semaglutide, tirzepatide, and the new ones that are coming down the pipeline. But, you know, there's still a lot of different things on the table, that peptides that we haven't even crossed yet and went down that road. So I'm going to bring those to the table for people. Like, there's one that's out there right now, and it's testosterone, right? And what testosterone basically does is it helps curb appetite. So it works alongside of GLP-1s very well. Or if you're going to take another weight loss medication that boosts your energy, let's say it's an ECA and you need more appetite suppression, this can be very beneficial. But the really beneficial part of this medication, or this peptide, is that it basically blocks the point in your body of the rebound. So when you they were comparing it to phentermine, and phentermine is a stimulant-driven weight loss medication. It's FDA approved appetite suppressant, but it's almost like methamphetamine. It's like that.
Wow.
So it can mess with the nervous system. This was the most commonly prescribed weight loss medication, if I had to say, probably like 6 to 7 years ago. Phentermine, fentromethazine, fen before. And at that point, like, it can destroy the nervous system. You build up a tolerance over time. It doesn't work really well. So with this, a lot of people get rebound effects from taking those different medications, where if they take this medication, will block the rebound effect, which is really cool. For some instances, you could take with GLP-1s too as well. There's a lot of people doing that. So a lot of different benefits for something like this. And like I said, there's more coming down the line.
All right, we got a question here, and I've never heard this one.
Can I take wheat germ oil without being positive to doping control? I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. Wheat germ oil, I don't know what it would pop for on a doping test.
Wheat germ is just a healthy, yeah.
Yeah, you
nice.
know. What's the shelf life of any peptides?
Ooh, good question.
So most
and
peptides,
what should and how should it be? I know there's different peptides. Is everything refrigerated?
So the way that it would be that you really look at something like this of what would have a longer shelf life per se is if most peptides they come and they're like freeze dried, right? So that white powder that's at the bottom, and you have to reconstitute that medication. So when it's in that powdered form like that, it's freeze dried. It's good. Like it'll be good, 100% potency when you reconstitute it. So that could last years. I don't want to put a specific amount of number on that, but years. BUD dates, best use date would be on the vial. Usually that's 6 months to a year. You know, and that's only that BUD date is based on when they send in a product to get tested. What happens is a pharmacy sends this to a lab. And what happens is a lab takes this and then they put it on a shelf per se. And they let it go 30 days. All right, cool. This is all good. It hasn't broken down. All right, cool. 60 days. All right, cool. Everything's good. Nothing's broken down. And they continue on to as long as they want. So usually it's 6 months. It hasn't broken down. Cool. Over a year, some break down, some don't. But unconstituted freeze-dried medication, you're going to be good for years. But some peptides, they come reconstituted already. I would do a year. That would be it. I mean, at very most. Or the best use date, I would go by too as well.
Should it be in sunlight, out of sunlight, on a shelf?
Sure,
should it be?
Sure. So after you reconstitute peptide medication, so when you put that water in there and you swirl it around, maybe you took your first injection, those do need to go in the refrigerator after reconstituted medication. I would keep any medication out of direct sunlight. Direct sunlight is going to break down any medication or going to cause possible damage to the medication. It's not going to hurt you per se. You'll just lose potency and concentration of it.
All right, we're going to jump out of that. If you guys want to go see some funny stuff, I did a sitcom called Magic Hugs. You guys go check that out. It's absolutely mindless humor with some comedians, and it was great. It was great fun stuff. You can go check the internet for that stuff. Did that a couple years ago. That being said, so IGF, LR3 is something that you could possibly take in the morning, and then the Tesamorelin at night. Again, these are to bump up your IGF levels, which is from collagen to recovery to lean muscle mass to cutting body fat to feeling healthier, better sleep, full recovery. If you want to train more, here's something. So you're recovering better so you can train more. We've always said this. You can only train as well as you recover.
That's right.
That's it. If you want to train 6 days a week like me, well, 12 days a week, 2 days, I have to recover. It is a demand. If I'm not recovering, I'm breaking myself down in the wrong direction.
Right.
MK for anybody out there that wants to put some size and muscle on and recover. Again, these, you got to call that number. You got to go over and make that first initial talk. And then if you've already done that and you've already over there, talk to your provider and say, hey, I've been on IGF-1, LR3. I'd like to switch it to MK or to the Tesamorelin. And again, they got the specials. Blood work this week. What are we looking at? Pricing.
Blood work. So it's $150 for males and $200 for females. $225 for females, excuse me. And that's with the discount. So next week will be Father's Day. I'm telling you right now in advance, there will be a Father's Day special for men and blood work next week. So all next week, I'm going to put that in the newsletter because, you know, we got to do something for fathers. We did it for Mother's Day. We got to do it for fathers. Got to make sure fathers are good to go. Make sure us dads out there are taken care of too as well. Sometimes the men get left by the wayside, you know?
Yeah. And that's great. It's a great concept for my team over here. Let's really push this whole Father's Day about the nutrition, the training, the Titan Medical, getting optimized so you can continue to be the savage, which I would like you guys to be.
Yes,
and again, go over and follow John's personal page as well, not just Titan Medical, because you're going to see somebody that's raising somebody, but this man lives everything he talks about. What do we got here?
Sure. I eat healthy, train 4 to 5 times a week. Just basic guy. Is Titan Medical created for everybody or gym sharks only? So for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Let me just, it's not created for gym. This is the biggest thing. It's created for the person that wants to be the best he can be.
That's right.
And that's everybody, I thought.
Everybody.
Yeah, it's that's the ultimate goal. And you're going to make the biggest changes because you sound like you are already in it. You sound like a gym shark. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 4 to 5 days a week.
That's not an average.
I know.
You're the 5%ers, guys. You're eating healthy already. You're doing this. Man, this is, Titan Medical
foundation right there. Yeah, that's Titan Lifestyle Foundation right there for sure.
That's,
realistically, how often is blood work to be done? Monthly, 3 months, definitely not a year. What is optimal? So I always say 3 to 6 months, but if you have some issues or you want to be checking month to month, there's nothing wrong with that. Totally up to you. I think optimally 3 to 6 months is going to be the sweet spot to do. Things change in at least 90 days, cholesterol, sugar levels, all these different things. So that would be my point right there. But like I said, you can do it every month just to check if you really want to, or if there's something you want to dial in specifically, you can do that too as well.
Well, let's say hi to this guy's sons, Santi.
Yep.
And Yoey. Creative names. I love that, man.
Yeah, right.
Peace from the Titan crew over here.
That's awesome.
I love football.
Yeah.
And I have friends that play. So I love the game of football. I'm not a team guy. I got too many friends that have played through the decades. And so I like watching my friends play, kick some butt and all that. Obviously I grew up in Seattle, but I'm a sports fan. I love the game, football.
Mm-hmm.
That must be a hard one for you because I know that you're a team one, right?
I am. So we'll see what the Bears are going to do this year. I'm used to, getting the L every year or something going wrong. Got the #1 college football quarterback. So let's see what Caleb Williams can do. Hopefully he can do well for the Bears. Bulls, basketball. I mean, that's my other one. Baseball and the White Sox, they're not doing too well either. So I'm still a loyal fan. But, since I lived down here in Florida, my second teams would be the Rays as far as baseball. And I guess the Bucks will be in there. Other than that, the Yankees play down here all the time. I like the Yankees too. So it is what it is.
This guy, I love it, man. Yeah. He's got a great collection at his palace out there in Florida.
Yeah.
Some of the real ones, mostly because Skytown again. Walter Payton. One of the most savage guys.
Sweetness, so baby.
430 bench, running those dirt hills. He set it up, that hard work. So again, Titan Medical, you got the number there. I'm going to put up a story to check it out. It's going to be for a sign up on emails. I think it's just something that's good for you guys, that just get these emails coming in and read about it and keep reading about these things. And then like Johnny said about with these peptides, and we didn't even get into today about optimizing your testosterone and making sure that that's where it needs to be. We'll do that next week, but there's so many facets to this that we can go over all that kind of stuff.
I know. I love it. Just more and more information we're learning, more different things out there that are going to help us in the future for sure. All
right, Johnny, I appreciate you, brother. I know you got another live today.
Yeah, I got one a little bit. We'll get it done.
Flexing out, dog. Flexing. Let's see those pipes, man. What do we got? What do we want? Yeah. Look at us. We're twins.
Yeah.
Do you guys
love it?
Yeah. I love these shirts. Brother, I'll check in with you in a bit then.
Sir, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.